Don't even think about moving to South Dakota unless you can handle these 7 things. Everybody, it's Tristan Emond with Mindful Living Realty, a realtor right here in Rapid City, South Dakota, the gateway to the Black Hills. One of the commenters on my YouTube video stated, well, hey, it might be okay, but it ain't heaven. And he's right. There are certain things about the state of South Dakota that you need to understand before you consider moving to the area. Number 1, that weather be crazy. South Dakota has about everything you can imagine aside from hurricanes. Really, really cold, really, really hot and humid. There's hail, there's tornadoes. You can find all these weather things somewhere in the state of South Dakota. Now let's back up a little bit and talk about the different geography part of South Dakota, because the weather is a lot different on each side of the state. If you get into the Black Hills, near where I am, we have this banana belt effect around the Black Hills. So our weather, like during the winter time, we have moments where the winter will get nice and warm. It'll be 40, 50 degrees. The snow will melt and things will feel pretty good, and then it'll snow again. It'll feel like winter again. A lot of times on the east side of the state, once you get snow, you have snow the entire year, and it's usually 10 degrees colder than it is in the Black Hills area. It's also drier on the west side of the state than the east side of the state. As soon as you cross the Missouri River, that humidity hits you like a brick. And the 95-degree weather in Sioux Falls is a whole lot hotter feeling than it is in Rapid City and the Black Hills. Here near the Black Hills, tornadoes isn't really a big concern for us, but as you get over into the prairie, those can be something you need to talk about. You better make sure you have good insurance on the west side of the state, because that's where we get hit with hail consistently. And no matter where you are in the state of South Dakota, the one thing that's constant is the wind. Now, it might always not be blowing like a gale all the time, but generally speaking, there's some kind of air movement going on, except for during some of the summer months when it really calms down. However, fall time, when weather kind of gets through, and springtime especially, we can have days of 30, 40 mile an hour winds consistently. But you can't beat the clean air and those sunsets. Number 2, taxes.
Taxes! Taxes! Beautiful, lovely taxes!
Now we know we don't have any state income tax, and there's a lot of great things regarding the taxes in the state of South Dakota. In fact, the Tax Foundation has South Dakota as the number 2 best state for taxes overall. However, once you get here, you're gonna start looking at those property taxes. And yeah, just because we're number 2 there doesn't mean we're number 2 in that category. We're actually number 17 in the property tax category. Between 1.1 and 1.3% usually is kind of what you'd be expected to pay on those property taxes. And while that's not as bad as Texas, some of the other Midwest states are considerably cheaper. Number 3, the cost of living, it ain't where it used to be. Depending on what website you look at and how they calculate the cost of living, what all they include in that, etc., South Dakota ranks between number 7, most affordable state, and number 17. With the recent influx of people coming to South Dakota, the home prices shot up in the past couple years, as much as 30%. And those wages didn't necessarily rise up with that. So the majority of the homes that are available to purchase, and even the rentals, are getting very, very hard to afford for your $15 an hour workers. However, if you want to live in small town South Dakota, you might have a chance to buy something for considerably cheaper. The larger towns such as Rapid City and Sioux Falls, the average sale price there is over $300,000. Towns such as Watertown and Pierre are around $265,000, and Aberdeen about $215,000. But smaller towns such as Mobridge and Redfield, you can buy a home there from anywhere between $125,000 to $135,000 on average. Number 4, South Dakota is remote. We've got around 900,000 people in the state of South Dakota. Now, to put that in perspective, you can take 3.5 almost South Dakotans and put it within Denver. There's about 11 people per square mile in the state of South Dakota. To put that into perspective, the state of New Jersey has about 1,300 people per square mile. In the state of South Dakota, we've got 2 big cities, and that's not very big compared to the rest of the country. Sioux Falls on the east side of the state, that's over 200,000 people, and Rapid City on the west side is about 75,000, 80,000 people. From there, we've got 3 cities that are between 20,000 and 30,000 people, 2 cities at about 15,000 people, and the rest of those 300-some cities are under that 15,000 people mark. In fact, about 40 cities have under 50 people living in them. Now, because of this, you're not going to have any massive shopping opportunities. There's a saying that says we have a little bit of everything, but not a whole lot of everything. And that was true for Rapid City and Sioux Falls. But if you're living in one of the smaller cities, you're probably going to want to travel to one of the bigger cities to do your bigger shopping. And because of our remoteness, we have more shipping costs for things coming into the state. And if you think you can get your Amazon package in 2 days, maybe, maybe not. South Dakota is a huge agricultural state. In fact, there are 3 cows to every 1 person in the state of South Dakota. On the east side of the state, you'll find lots of corn and soybean fields, a lot of farming going on over there. On the west side of the state, the landscape is a lot rougher. You've got a few more breaks, and there's a lot more ranching on the west side of the state. But no matter where you go, 70% of the roads in South Dakota are gravel. You're driving down country roads, past amazing landscapes, but next to farms and fields. And all those animals, all the farms, they've got the certain smells that you got to get used to. Number 6, there ain't no major sports in South Dakota. Obviously, there's no way a major team could be supported in the state. So usually it's the Minnesota teams and the Colorado teams that are high in the list priorities for South Dakotans. However, South Dakota is really strong in the local sports and youth leagues. We have been put on the map recently with the South Dakota State University football team winning the national championship 2 years in a row. Speaking of SDSU, there are no major universities in the state of South Dakota. We have South Dakota State University in Brookings, University of South Dakota in Vermilion, which has a great nursing and law program. On the west side of the state, there's Black Hills State University and the School of Mines in Rapid City, which is known for its engineering degrees. And my son is going to Dakota State University in Madison, South Dakota. They're going to be a pretty popular school for the cybersecurity program there in DSU. Of course, there are also a number of local community colleges and smaller area colleges that probably be more affordable for you to get that higher education. But if you're looking for one of the major schools, you've got to go to Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, or Colorado. And number 7, it's pretty red here. South Dakota has always been a very, very conservative state. Some might argue almost too much to one side, but that's just the way it has been and probably always will be for the foreseeable future. The majority of South Dakota has strong conservative values. It takes kind of a dim view of liberal ideals. So if you're thinking of coming to the state and overthrowing the right to carry a gun, you're probably not going to be very successful at that anytime soon. But if you can get past these 7 items that I've noted, South Dakota is a state of amazing people that'll give you the shirt off their backs if they need to, where the air is clear, we have amazing landscapes and sunsets, the economy is usually stable, there's a whole bunch of lakes and rivers, hunting, fishing, outdoor activities, so many amazing things to do and see in the state of South Dakota. Well, so what do you think? Did I scare you off with these 7 things about South Dakota? Let me know in the comments below. What do you love about South Dakota? What do you not love about South Dakota? It's certainly not for everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing day. Remember, love where you live.